Charlene Ortiz Desiderio, a student from College of Nursing and Allied Medical Sciences under BSN Level 2 Block 1. So for today, I'm gonna be discussing about oral rehydration solutions, ORS, or more commonly known as Oresols. So are you now ready? Let's begin! Oral rehydration solutions, or simply ORS, or more commonly known here in the Philippines as Oresol, is a type of fluid replacement that is used to prevent and treat dehydration, especially that due to diarrhea. It involves drinking water with modest amounts of sugar and salts, specifically sodium and potassium. But in order for us to be enlightened about the concept of Oresols, let us first elucidate the concept of dehydration. Dehydration means that our body doesn't have as much as fluid and water than it should. In the Philippines, according to the 2018 census on food and waterborne diseases conducted by the Department of Health, 11,120 cases of acute diarrhea were reported, wherein from this huge amount of population, 7.8% results and ends with dehydration, with the prevalence of cases in children under 5 years old. Isn't this alarming? But behind this fact, we cannot deny that diarrhea is completely preventable. And many people in this country die not because they have a serious disease and not because of dehydration alone. Moreover, they die because of their lack of knowledge on how they can treat and prevent diarrhea and dehydration by simply rehydrating themselves. So this is where the significance of Oresols or ORS comes in. One of the major components of community health nursing is health mission. This means that as community health nurses, it is indeed both our duty and responsibility to disseminate substantial and useful information to the public, to every individual, and every family, and every community. Helping them understand the significance of Oresols is like making them realize the worth of their own health, and of course, the crucial role that they are playing in every community. But in reality, we cannot expect every individual and every family to have an access or even have just the capacity to go to any health facility or clinics wherever and whenever they are experiencing diarrhea, dehydration, or excessive vomiting. This is why Oresols are really life changers, because they are so easy and convenient to make. This is why as community health nurses, it is our duty to introduce to them the concept of rehydration through the use of Oresols. Because Oresols can help us retain or if not get more water and other body fluids and other important nutrients that can also be found in the blood. So here are the wins of performing and using ORS. Oral rehydration solutions should be prescribed daily if a child or any individual in the family has any of these 4 conditions. First, diarrhea. Second, dehydration with other related signs such as fainting and dizziness. Third, excessive vomiting. And then lastly, if the client has not drunk liquids or other water for the last 48 hours. So now let's move on to the materials needed in making the homemade Oresol. For the materials needed, first of all, we're going to be using a liquid solvent to dissolve all of our solutes. And of course, the solvent that we're going to be using is no other than our universal solvent, the water. But in here, we are gonna be using 1 liter of distilled water. But if distilled water is not available, we can just make use of a boiled or a purified water. And then second, of course, if there is a solvent, there must also be a solute. So the first solute that we're gonna be needing is a glucose in the form of sugar. So 20 grams or 6 teaspoons of sugar will do. And this sugar functions to reabsorb and assimilate the sodium to provide heat and energy. And then lastly, we are gonna be needing another solute, which is the sodium chloride or the table salt that we call, and we're gonna be needing 3.5 grams or at least a half teaspoon of this salt. So this salt functions for the retention of fluid and water. But in some cases, there are already Oresols that are already made available in drugstores and they have additional components, the potassium, chloride, and of course the sodium bicarbonate. So these two functions as the buffer content as well as the neutralizer of the solution. Now, let's move on to our procedures. Just to make sure that you are able to purify it from previous microorganisms or contaminants that could possibly cause us more harm. And after preparing the liquid solvent, we have to place it in a glass or in a jar or in a pitcher depending on the amount that you are creating, ready for mixing. Second, we are going to add 6 teaspoons of sugar to the boiled or distilled water. And here we are going to add 1 teaspoon at a time just to make sure that we are being able to dissolve the sugar slowly. Rightly. And then third, after adding and dissolving the sugar, we are now going to add our second solute, which is the salt. We're going to add a half teaspoon of salt to the solution of boiled water and dissolved sugar. Moving on to our fourth step, we're just going to use a spoon or a fork or any other available stirrer to mix the solution well. We have to make sure that the solute has been dissolved equally and then properly by the solvent. And then lastly, after the solution has been mixed, it is now ready for serving. So we must serve every individual. Take note, 1 to 2 spoons for every 10 to 15 minutes in no more than 24 hours. And if after 24 hours, the symptoms or the condition still persist, it is very important for the individual to see or to call their local physicians for any other possible underlying severe conditions. So that basically sums up our oral rehydration solutions.
Yeah.
Now that you're familiar with Oresols, I hope that you can use that incorruptible knowledge of yours to be able to fulfill your duty and responsibility as a community health nurse with the intellect, with the substance, and of course, with a purpose. Again, I am Charlene Artides Aderio, a student from College of Nursing and Allied Medical Sciences under BSN Level 2 Block 1. Good luck, God bless, and always keep safe.